How long you guys been working on it? How long has it been now?
So a couple months, I think like 2.
It shows. It shows.
Yeah, that's a great choice. Did you do it yourselves or?
We both wanted to do a scene, so we asked our theater teacher for a little bit of help. So she showed it to. She showed us 2 of Christopher Duran's plays, and so this is the one that we liked the best.
He's one of the best, that's for sure. I think your intro was really nice. I know it's not particularly part of the scene, but we're kind of supposed to treat this as though we were talking about an audition type setting, and so an introduction is actually very, very important in that type of setting. So you have very nice, clean, professional introductions. So, and I just wanted to compliment you on that. And feel free to take even more of a beat in between your intro and the beginning of the scene, just to kind of give yourselves that moment to kind of be in a neutral place and then be able to start the energy of the scene. And then on that same note, at the end of the scene, well, we really needed another beat. I think for as actors, it's good for you to kind of just, okay, the scene's over, my head's going down, closing my eyes, and then up and then, thank you, or scene, whatever you want to say. But we also need it as audience members, because it kind of helps us transition out of the scene. But I think the way that it ended, it was kind of like, oh, okay, I guess it's over now, type of thing. So that's kind of a nitpicky thing, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I agree. I love your guys' intro. Nice, clean, and it felt confident. So, when you go into an audition, that's one of the things that we're looking for is somebody that we know that we can feel comfortable with, that we don't have to, I'll just say what directors are thinking. Like, we don't want to baby an actor. And so the fact that you guys stepped in and it was a nice professional introduction. So it was great. And then to feed that, I echo what Julie said. You take even more of a beat to let the world flow. Get selfish, and then win the scene. Like, you just take a little bit more, but it was so good. And I loved your energy. Like right from the beginning, I felt like you guys were in the scene right away. As soon as you were with the baby, it was just right at the top, nice, clean, and I felt like you guys jumped in with both feet.
Absolutely.
Love that.
You're very, very prepared, and the scene has a very, very nice pace to it. And I think with scenes like this, where everything's very neurotic and very high energy, you have a tendency to let things go really fast. And there were times when that was happening, but you weren't afraid to kind of take some moments and let it simmer and let each other have reactions to what was going on. That's key. I thought that was really great. Did you separate the scene into beats or transitions at all?
Well, we sort of worked on the beginning part one day and then the middle part together. We separated it in days and we were sort of blocking in and rehearsing.
Okay, all right. Well, I
And
definitely.
how did you separate them? Did you separate them by time in the script, or did you feel like, okay, this is a good place to stop?
I think that most of the time, at least I know with the first one, we went from the beginning to right before I jump up and say boys and men, because that's a really a strong place. So we stopped when it was before it got to that point.
Shifts in the character.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But I think you, as actors, you're natural actors, you're natural performers, and I think you had a sort of a natural feel for where the beats were in the scene. So I think that's great. The first kind of beat change I noticed was I Want a Divorce. And that was just nice. I could just tell, okay, we're kind of going into a new area here. And you really just let him have it in a few of those moments. And I think that's great. I feel like you just really let go.
Yeah, I agree. You guys had a technically nice volume. You guys were not afraid to go there, get loud, and have a fight. Loved it. I think we have to be really careful when it comes to stuff like this, though, especially when you guys have a great sense of rhythm and pace. Get really careful with your diction. There was some stuff that I did not understand, And so you just need to really police that stuff, and just sort of, use your fellow actors, that you're training with as a sounding board. Like, where is it that you can't understand what I'm saying? So there were just a couple of times where the comment felt
Yeah.
a little like that, so just really focus on that stuff, be aware. But most actors have a problem with that at some point or another, and you can totally get past it, so. Sorry, go.
When you've been rehearsing this, have you been using a chair for the baby to be on, or?
We used a stool, we used a desk. We didn't know what to expect when we got here. If it was gonna be in the classroom with a desk that we could use, if it'd be a stool, we practiced it by itself, but it was a lot easier to have an actual visual.
Yeah.
When we performed it at school, actually used the baby and a bassinet and everything.
Okay, yeah. I feel like the stool, or even maybe that table, the bigger table over there or something, because, and obviously, sometimes you just have to work with what you have, but I feel like the baby was so low that like, okay, we're down here now, and now we're up here and we're talking to each other, and now we're down here, and so it doesn't, provide for as much fluidity. Do you agree with that?
I actually didn't have a problem.
Does that help? Okay, well, that's just a problem.
But it'd be interesting to see if that changes well.
This is the big, yeah, maybe a little higher up, so they can speak to each other and we look at that.
I'm sorry, can we get everybody to sort of settle back there? Thank you, guys. Yeah, no, I'd be interested to see what that would be like. Kyle, I love your book, Vulnerability. It was so great, like just in, a lot of the times you would just have a guy in there who's really trying to be strong, and their vulnerability would be forced, and I didn't feel like you were doing that. I just felt really comfortable with who this guy was. It was just really easy for me to step in, but at the same time, I also didn't feel like he was a simpering wuss. Like I just really felt like, okay, I can identify, I care about him, and I thought you have a nice naturalness that really fed that, and it was just terrific.
Yeah.
And Zoe, I love how, the thing about women characters in Durang plays is they almost become, it's an archetype of his writing. It's like he uses the same thing over and over again. It's like a genre of women characters where you get a lot of the same sort of, they're a little crazy, and they're sharp, and they're mean, and everything, and I felt like you really stepped into that. I thought it was a really successful take on the character. So, I like that.
I would even, just to take that, and you did a great job, just to give you a note, to take that even a step further is, well, actually, let me back up. What do you feel is the climax of this season?
Climax would be when we reach our maximum volume, sort of yelling at each other. It says, the cocktail for breakfast, that area, when they really reach the tiny point.
I mean, I think that was a climax.
I would say that possibly the climax would be when we shift from being a happy family talk and being with our baby to I want a divorce, because that's when you first see the shift, and then that's when everything just goes downhill. At first it's we're happy, I want a divorce, I hate you, I don't like you, you're annoying, I don't want the baby and everything. So I would say that I would think that would be
I think that's another climax. I feel like once the baby starts crying,
Yeah.
I felt like I think those are peaks. Myself, just for myself, I reacted to those as peaks. But just all of a sudden when the baby started crying, I felt like everything changed. Like then it was like the baby's crying, we gotta get rid of the baby. And so for me, I think it's really smart to be wondering what is the climax? Where we, within this chunk of the play, what's the big part of the scene?
Yeah, and toward the end, the energy gets so high, and you vocally are very high, director, oh my God, blah, blah. And so we went out it went up here and stayed up here. We went out on a very, very high note. So that's why I was just wondering where you felt the ultimate climax of the scene was. But for your anxiety, I could see more toward the end, I could see you maybe exploring your high anxiety in some different ways. Maybe you're not always up here again, maybe it's, you know, cocktail for breakfast. You know, maybe it's, maybe the energy and the volume are a little bit lower, but the anxiety is just as high. I would just encourage you to play with that.
Yeah, and I think the way to do that, in my opinion, is do more of what you guys are already doing. Because I love what you guys are doing. And so what I felt came next was fleshing it out even further. So as she was going, you know, she was starting to go to these places, and the baby was crying, and things were bad, and he was turning out to be a horrible person, and all, you know, it was kind of, like, I almost wondered if she had things that she would go back to. For example, some sort of
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Some sort of happy place.
yeah, some sort of happy place and some method to get to her happy place. You know, things like that. And for him, like really, oh my God, like really see that wait, we were happy yesterday. What's going on? Like even further with, oh my God, you know.
And for your character, I would love to see your anxiety very present and building the whole time when you're speaking and when she's kind of having her reactions, because there were certain moments where I felt like your anxiety began when she spoke to you. So don't wait for her to speak, don't wait for her to say something, and don't wait for your cue to be anxious. I mean, you're all, just let it continue to build as the dialogue.
Yeah, I think it's a great choice of a scene for you guys. Like it's perfect for the two of you. It was perfect, and you guys really stepped into it. Another thing that I just want to, I'm not going to talk about too much because it was so good, was that I did feel like you guys had really addressed the concept of stakes, high stakes. What is at stake here? What do you value in the scene? And I felt like, you know, stuff was really important to you in the scene. And I could totally feel it. Loved it. Just loved it. And you guys just technically did a great focus on each other. Your eye contact was excellent. Okay. And for me, it was a perfect place to end the scene. It was a great way to end the scene. The scene had a great arc to it. As far as, you know, especially in an environment like this, great way to end it. I felt like you guys had really done your homework and really had a nice understanding of the scene. Jump up.
Where do you
Okay, so let's just go ahead and start at the top, and we're gonna play with it a little bit.
Do you just want us to use this table now?
Let's use